Arctic, the world's largest land predator. At once cuddly and ferocious, polar bears weigh in at 1,500 pounds. But I've only seen them splashing around in the zoo. So I grabbed my parka and headed north. Way north. As in 2 days, 1 night, and 3 planes north to the polar bear capital of the world, Churchill, Manitoba, perched on the shores of Canada's Hudson Bay.
We could have done, I don't know, a shark dive in the Caribbean. But I figured, hey, let's go look for polar bears in the winter. There is not a tree that looks like it's above 10 feet tall here. It is the tundra. It is barren. And this is good. For the winter, this is as good as it gets.
Which is why Churchill boasts more bears than people. Though when the sea ice melts and the bears float ashore, 7,000 or so tourists also migrate here. The attraction?
Well, polar bears are about the most interesting animal I can think of. A large white carnivore living in an environment that's totally white, in which you can't even imagine how they make a living.
The leader of the research team,
biologist Dr. Stephen Emstrup, caught the bear bug 26 years ago. There he is back in 1985. Luckily for me, he's my personal tundra tour guide.
Hi, Al. I'm Steve Amstrup of the USGS.
Steve, nice to meet you. All right, let's go see some bears.
Let's see some bears.
How fast will this actually go?
We head out in our massive Tundra Buggy. Think monster truck on steroids.
I think from here on out, we could start to see polar bears.
At first, the view's pretty bleak. It hasn't snowed yet this fall, which is unusual.
It's a little hard to focus. And I thought I saw there was a polar bear, but I guess that's a rock. But as rocks go, it's pretty interesting.
Then the first signs of life, a ptarmigan.
Been out here an hour and a half and we've seen Arctic chicken.
At last, I think I see it.
Okay, who's coming to visit? That is so cool. Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's the classic, holy cow, there's a real wild polar bear.
A real polar bear.
The bears haven't eaten much for the past 4 months. They can only hunt ringed seals when the bay is frozen. And until then, they just wait.
Steve, no. Can he smell us?
Well, he certainly could smell us, but I don't know with the way the wind is whether or not our scent cone has gotten over his direction yet or not. But he looks like he might be aware of us now. There are relatively few encounters that have been a problem between bears and humans. But when they do occur, it's usually a bad deal for the humans.
If he decided to investigate us, would it take him very long to get from there to here?
It'd be less than 4 seconds.
Less than 4 seconds?
Yeah, it's about 100 yards away. He could be here 4 or 5 seconds probably.
Alrighty, I think it's probably time to go.
I think it's time to go inside.
We spend some time with a few sub-adult males and track a mother and cub until one friendly fellow escorts us home to the Tundra Buggy Lodge.
So Al, this is the bunkhouse. Got a nightlight. Okay, Al, meet everyone at the lodge already.
Hi, everyone at the lodge already. How's the weather? Just like Cheers. Where are you all from?
Here in the middle of nowhere, we compare notes on the day and bunk down for the night. And yes, these are my usual PJs.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Al. Good night, Al.
Though I'm fast asleep, outside there's a whole lot of shaking going on. From the safety of our Tundra Buggies, bears and humans can easily coexist. But that's not the case when a hungry bear wanders into town.
About 2 weeks ago, I got 3 hours sleep because I was called out just about every hour that night chasing bears out of town.
Before Churchill's Polar Bear Alert program, intruders were shot. Today, they're trapped and held here in Churchill's Polar Bear Jail, where they live up to a 30-day sentence. After which, lucky prisoners like this guy get a dose of tranquilizer and a free lift out of town. The hope is that he'll stay away until freeze-up, when hunting has more appeal than trespassing. But the warming climate isn't helping matters. Normally, their habitat looks like this, but not this year.
Hudson Bay, completely ice-free. The tundra, pretty much snow-free. What does that say?
That's a longer period of food deprivation, and it's translated into lighter weight bears.
And since many of the thinner cubs aren't surviving, the bear population here has dropped over 16% in the last 10 years.
The projections suggest that the sea ice could be entirely gone from this area, certainly within the next century, if they extrapolate. And it would probably mean either very few or no polar bears in this region.
In response to Amstrup's research, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service may add polar bears to the endangered species list.
How long will he stay out?
I guess 2-3 hours. He's out of it completely, and he's up on his haunches and looking around.
Trying to figure out where the heck he is.
This bear's lucky. He'll just wake up with a bad headache. But for the rest of his friends, if we humans don't wake up, we could lose these great creatures forever. And for more information on how you could help save the polar bears, you go to our website at todayshow.com, or you can log on to polarbearsinternational.org.
Let's go back. You were there in October,
Right.
and normally that whole place would be frozen right then. So are they saying this is an irreversible trend, or is this one particular seasonal cycle kind of a blip on the radar?
Yeah, it's very controversial. Some people say this is climate change or global warming. Others say it could be a blip. What they do know, though, is for every week that the ice doesn't form, there's about a 2 to 3% decline in the polar bear population.
Which is not a good thing.
Which is not a good
I actually was very nervous seeing you that close to that bear when he said you only had 4 seconds that separated the two of you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Al can run really fast.
The worst
That's a
part was
little-
Matt was supposed to be with me, but he really after he saw the Tundra Buggy Lodge, he decided not to go.
That's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I heard you moved
We'll
over
do it
to
again sometime.
Ritz-Carlton right after that.
Oh yeah, right, the Ritz-Carlton.
It's a great story.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Again, thanks to Robin
Beautiful
Singler.
animal.
And for all the pieces so far this week, and Laura Tresiokas also. It's been wonderful. By the way, when we come back, introduce you to some of the Arctic creatures we brought here to the plaza, the penguins. We've got a falcon. We've got an Arctic fox. We're going to have a little fun. But first, these messages.
Penguins are so sensitive. Penguins are so sensitive.